Hello, and welcome back to Military Illumination. We're a podcast for young people and high school students who's thinking about joining the military, or anyone who knows about students who's maybe thinking about joining the military. It's also for people who are in the military already and considering reenlistment in their first term. And it's just simply people who want to know the truth. That's what we're here for. We illuminate the things that the military intentionally and unintentionally hides from the public, from unsuspecting possibly a recruit. But it makes a difference, right? The idea behind it is that if you're gonna make a decision, isn't it best to make a decision on all of the facts so that the decision you make will produce the results you want? My name is Gary, and I will be your host. Today, we're going to be talking about military retirement. Is part 2, calculations. All right, so here we go. You're going to retire at 20 years. You're going to 18. You're 38 years old. You're young, right? No doubt, you're going to your 18 or 19, 18. You're free. No debts, no children, no wife, no PTSD, no medical issues. You're young, you're vibrant, and you're you're just pumping hard, making things happen, living life on the edge and having fun. It sounds pretty good when they're saying that you can retire in 20 years with 50% of your base pay. Hey, I'll jump on that any day. And I did. Yeah. Anyways, here's something that I'm just going to let you know. 50% of your base pay. What's the base pay? Base pay is based on your rank. Each rank has a certain amount of pay, and it's based on years of service and rank. So let's just say you're an E6. I'm just throwing some numbers out there, so don't be fact checking me here. And let's say your base pay is $5,000 a month. Okay, that's your base pay, and out of that base pay comes things like your taxes and everything. Okay, and maybe some life insurance if you get beyond it. But your base pay is $5,000 as an E6. Okay, let's say you're E6, because I don't think you can retire if you're under E6 years service. Anyways, what is your base pay? What's half your base pay? What's half of $5,000? It's $2,500. Okay, so now you're retiring on $2,500. But guess what? Your base pay, a person has been getting the base pay. But on top of that, they may get hazard duty pay, they may get TDY pay, they may get housing expenses, they may get uniform allowances, they may get a lot of extras that bump their monthly pay up $3,000 or $4,000. So let's just say a person is in the military, they're close to retirement, and shucks. Okay, so you're close to retirement, and you're getting all this extra money. Okay. So now your income, your monthly income is going to be about $7,000. Let's just say $7,000. The average person are going to calculate their retirement 7,000 divided by 2, which is 50%, right, or half your base pay, at about $3,500. Okay, and it does go up higher the longer you stay in. So don't say, "Oh, hold me to the fact." It's just that the longer you stay in, you can get more. And also, we're not accounting for if you got a medical discharge where you're gonna qualify for something through the VA for more. Okay, we're not talking about the VA disabilities right now. We're just talking about straight up. Okay, you come out, you're clean, you got some debt, you got some families, you got that kind of stuff going on. So you got a lifestyle that's living up to as a $70,000 a month lifestyle. The house is going to be there that's going to qualify for everything. Okay. But now you're retiring at 38, and that $7,000 is going to go down to $2,500. Do you see the issue with that? Okay. Now, that's also going to be taxed for tax purposes as a distribution, which basically means that you're going to pay taxes on that $2,500. Yep. You're going to pay taxes on that $2,500. So that $2,500 is now going to be less than that. Probably, let's just say for all intents and purposes, $2,000. Now you also added that $2,000, and now you got to pay for your medical and your dental, and maybe some life insurance. So let's just say that $2,000 turns into maybe $1,800. Now you got a lifestyle that's $7,000 a month. Now you're down to $1,800. Think about that. You're at the height of your retirement, of your earning potential, but you have bills and your family, you have debt, inflation, gonna eat that up. And also, here's something else that you might want to consider, is that if you've been with your spouse for more than 10 years and they divorce you, they can get half of your base pay. They get half of your retirement. Ouch. They get half of your retirement. Okay? And how much retirement do you really have? After giving 20 years of service, okay, you have next to nothing. Or you're going to have to pay child support if you have kids and you get divorced. What I'm saying here is this. When you're talking about your retirement early, the question you should be asking is, how much money will I get at retirement guaranteed? How much money will I get at retirement guaranteed? If you're good with your money, you manage it. Make sure you're debt free. Make sure you pay everything off. You might be okay. But in the broad sense, how well off will that person be with the military retirement? Will they need to find another job? Okay. So the benefit of 20-year retirement comes into questionability when you look at all of the facts. Just being upfront with you. 20 years. My story is my father, he retired from the Navy, 20 years. It wasn't enough. He had to go find another job. He went back to work 9 to 5. Sadly, he became cancer, late stage cancer. A year to the date, he retired. And that goes to I'll talk about that later on when I talk about the military medical. They should have caught that. There are signs there. You don't just go from 0 to 60. And from my understanding, my father is that he was in and out of hospitals for different things. They had to deal with his nasal stuff. It came down to the military-related death. But 20 years to die 4 years later, never hardly see your family, give to your country, not making enough money. He couldn't even afford the military insurance. So I'm not going to go into that. Now, what's my connection with my story? I got a bonus. And these are really good for bonuses, right? People think, you're going to get this big old cash settlement in the military. Remember I told you before? The needs of the military, the needs of the government always supersedes your needs. They need to keep you, and they need to keep you, and they need to keep you, and they'll do whatever they have to do to keep you. I get this nice fat bonus. I'm looking for, that's when I re-enlisted. My job had a bonus to it. It was high need. First of all, I didn't get the money all at once. And they pinched me off a little bit, taxed the heck out of that, and gave me the crumbs. And each year after that, they kind of pinched me off a little bit more, taxed the hell out of that, and gave me the crumbs. So in the essence, I didn't have anything. But they got me for 4 years, more years, but I didn't have anything. And so a lot of the bonuses, a lot of things they give you is taxed up front. And they're not going to give it to you all at once. They're going to drip it to you, and they're going to tax that. So just same thing with your military retirement. They're going to pull up a little bit, tax the hell out of it, and give you the crumbs. It would have been nice if you were able to pull that money out, put it into another vehicle that you wanted, that you can control, and get money off of that each month, but that's not how it goes. Okay, so when you think about the military retirement, calculate the cost. What are you going to have guaranteed at the end of retirement? And if you know about the military, you know about the government, there's nothing guaranteed. All right? So, I appreciate it. I'm going to turn the lights on. I'm going to turn the lights off. And next time we turn the lights on, we're going to be talking about episode 16, retirement corporate style. It's military retirement, part 3, corporate style. Thank you, and have a great day.